So I first worked as a tour guide when I moved to Berlin back in, I moved in 2008 and I got work permission in 2009, right at the beginning of the year, which was wonderful because they actually mailed me my temporary work permit in this, just in a normal A4 format, 2 pages, stamped, signed, super official. And then because it was 2 pages, they also folded over the back corner of the 2 pages stapled together up at the corner, and then signed and stamped that connection as well. So it was super official. I finally had permission to work, which was really good because it was a cold winter and I had no money. And the first specialized tour I did, beyond doing kind of the general highlights of Berlin, Brandenburg Gate, Chapeau Charlie, was one about street art because I studied art history. And the big place that we would go to at the beginning, because it's right in the center of the city, is this former occupied building called Tacheles. And it's now very much former occupied because they're in the process of renovating it. At the time, it was still occupied by artists. And there was basically a whole ecology of for-profit bars in the basement, plus for-profit artists who were exhibiting and selling stuff. And then some kind of still sort of independent, less commercial feeling spaces. And so I would always go to one of the for-profit places because he sold stuff that was affordable for the kind of tourists that were coming on the tour. And it was a good way of trying to at least get this tourism back into a somewhat holistic ecology, but it still felt a little bit Disneylandish. So it still always had a bit of a too much commercialism in the back of my mouth and the aftertaste. At the same time, I got free t-shirts for bringing tourists there, and that was kind of my commission. So I still have those t-shirts today. And whenever I wear them, I get to kind of re-inhabit that dialogue of supporting while trying to not exploit too much.
Sandra, it's so nice that you show me your city and the Disneyland. It was my dream when I come to the States to visit Disneyland. But...
Oh, thank you. It's wonderful that you wanted a guide to Disneyland because, really, you could just go on your own. But
it's amazing. It's my childhood. I read all these comics and this stuff, but there was nothing to visit in Germany at that time. So now I'm here, and Mickey Mouse and Donald, and it's amazing. It's wonderful.
Because you see, I just grew up with it. So for me, it's the normal. I came here twice in middle school because they would invite bands to come. So for me, it's just, honestly, it's cool to see it through your eyes because for you, it's so exotic and so strange. At the same time, I'm kind of jealous of the fact that you imagined it this whole time. Instead of having it really here, you just imagined what Disneyland would be like. And somehow I think that would be better.
It's an interesting thought because, to say the truth, it's overwhelming, and my memories of it are so strong. But here's a lot of plastic, which is a little bit artificial. It has not the same flavor like in my memory. My memories are so it shaped my youth, but now it's all plastic.
Yeah, I mean, when you get up close, you see the real texture of things, and that texture here is plastic.
I still can smell my Mickey Mouse journals when you open them as a child. This smell of print and paper. I waited for it always to get a new one. This is once we went on holiday and my parents bought me a whole package. And I can't remember, it was a trip of 20 hours to Spain, but I can't remember the trip. I was in this world. Super nice, super beautiful. Thank you for your world culture. This is this is world
The
culture.
world culture. This is no, I mean, this is it's hard. It's hard to kind of recognize the odd space that the movies and that part of Californian culture occupies within California, because California has a much longer history and a much more complex history, even of colonization. But really, when people think about California, they think about Disneyland, they think about, but it's so recent. It is so recent.
I have to apologize there that I ask you to come here, because for you, it's what you said. It's so much more. Huh? But for me, it was important. It's
Yeah, no, for you, it's about your memories, I think. And California, honestly, is a great place to facilitate memories of things that are not real. It's something California is very good at. Like, it's something about the light, I think.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Crazy. What a great place. I'm so happy you brought me here.
You keep saying, I mean, you've been saying it so much that I'm wondering if there's not a little bit, I don't know, if there's not a little bit of sadness behind it too, now that you've seen everything close up and you know that your fantasies, even when they're made into a real fantasy world, aren't real, right?
Yeah, it's melancholic feeling. It's true. It's this. One would be love to go back to the childhood when you're in a way naive, but in a way you. There is a German artist. They asked him. He died of ALS terribly, but he gave a last interview and he said, "My mom told me when I was a child, I always played Superman." And he said, "That's not true. As a child, I was Superman." And this power to be that, not just to look at it and oh wow, to get that back. Huh? This I
No, I
just
mean,
had a towel. I just had a towel and was jumping off things, and I was Superman.
right, because your imagination couldn't really tell the difference between understanding and imagining, right? Because if we interpret, I was convinced my older brother was Superman. I remember this. I don't know why. But I absolutely was. And I, does that have, like, as a younger daughter, I couldn't be, or as a younger sister. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. But I definitely, when I was younger, had, and because I was the youngest and I was always sat in the back seat, I had also books and a whole series of imaginary worlds that I would go into. And it's funny because I do also today have this sense that I would like to be able to be in them again. And at the same time, I know that that's not possible in the same way, because I wouldn't be in them, I would be imagining them.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a reflective process. So I have a good idea. Let's do something new together. Show me something in California what you have not seen. And I for sure have not seen it. So we go there together and be kids again.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's do it.
I was, when was it? 1989. I went to Japan for 7 weeks and a trip which changed me completely, of course. We were two, we traveled through the whole country, we met a lot of people, and that time, no internet, nothing. I learned a little bit of Japanese before. And we lived with people at home, with families, with some companies who offered us places to stay. And so they brought us to Disneyland in Japan, in Tokyo. Tokyo has a Disneyland at that time already. So this was stunning experience to be in Japan in a Disneyland, first time in my life. And the craziest moment I had was at a roller coaster. You know, they have this huge roller coasters with the looping and all this stuff. And there came then a real sumo wrestler. You know, sumo, they're huge. And he had this traditional clothes on, this robe, and everyone gave him space. He was so much an authority. He was an idol for the Japanese people, and he just came in. He do not had to queue. Everyone wanted to have him in. The Japanese are so polite, and he was, what a stature he was. And then he was sitting in the roller coaster in front of me, and he got, of course, one car for himself because he was so huge. He needed the full place. This was really funny. And I thought, oh my God, he's so heavy. We will go down very fast. And now, of course, it's a machine, it can do it. But this was absolutely to have this man in the traditional clothes, in this yukata in front of you in a Disneyland. I don't know. It really blew my mind. Blew my mind. Blew my mind. Yes, it did. Wow. Let's go back one day.